Okay, I'm Gabe Ets-Hokin.
And Alan Lapp.
All right. And we write for CityBike magazine and MotorcycleDaily.com, and we ride motorcycles, so you don't
have to.
That's right, so you don't have to. And we're here in an undisclosed location with Hyosung GT250R. And you might say, yo, what? And I'd say, yo, sung. This is how you say it. Hyosung. Hyosung, not Hyosung or Hyosilver.
The H is silent.
The H is apparently silent in Korea, and that's okay because now if you haven't heard of Hyosung, I don't blame you, but actually they've been around for almost 50 years, building pretty high quality motorcycles. For a while they worked with Suzuki, but now they really do design completely their own thing.
Most notably, they assisted with parts of the manufacture of the SV650.
That's right. That's right. But just to be clear, the 650 Hyosung motor is really not the same.
Shares no parts.
Shares no parts. Totally different cylinder head design. Yes. Yada yada yada. Anyway, we're talking about this bike. It's the $4,099 Hyosung GT250R. Al and I have been riding it up and down Redwood Road here in the East Bay. I'm not saying exactly where we are. And actually, I am really surprised. I had very low expectations of this motorcycle. I've ridden Hyosung products in the past. I found them to be good values, but build quality and riding feel and just kind of how the bike was put together and marketed and presented wasn't really what I was used to. But that was years ago, and now it's 2013, and I'm very pleasantly surprised by this motorcycle. I found it to be a lot like riding a full-size motorcycle with just a lot less power. And I think for somebody looking for their first sport bike, that might not actually be such a bad thing, especially when you consider the price. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, this thing has good brakes. It doesn't accelerate hard. I mean, but it is, of course, only a 250cc V-twin. It will not get you in trouble by mistake. You can't do anything on this that is going to surprise you terribly much. The ride quality is pretty good. The rear shock is a little funky, but I think at the price point it's very reasonable. There are some quality things, like I notice here on the seat, that the seat cover sort of ripples. So it's like you see there's some. I mean, this of course is incredibly minor, but then if you look down at the foot pegs, they're adjustable.
Yeah.
So you get these trade-offs. It's like that's a really nice little feature. It allows you to fit it to your body better. And of course, I'm tall, and Gabe is not as tall, so either one of us could fit comfortably on this bike. So it's I think it's a step forward for Hyosung.
I found it to be a really comfortable motorcycle and fun to ride. Good wind protection. It's kind of like getting into a time machine, and it's 1994, and you're on a GSXR 750, and someone pulled 3 spark plugs out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was thinking of clever things to say on the video Walkaround, and the thing that I thought was this thing would have kicked a Kawasaki 305's ass all over the place.
I've never ridden one of those, but the old 250 Ninja, I would say I'd prefer this bike to the 87 to 2007 250 Ninja, just because brakes are better. Suspension is really good. You see the inverted fork, Al?
Yeah. The front suspension didn't give me any reason for concern, but the back was a little
multi-adjustable rear shock. Well, you see the adjuster on the rear shock.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Is it preload?
It's preload adjustable. It's infinitely adjustable rear shock.
Oh, preload adjustment.
Right, preload adjustment.
Probably not.
I don't see damping adjusters on the shock, but still, I
for
thought
$5,000. What do you expect?
For $4,000, I was expecting much worse suspension, especially having ridden Hyosungs in the past, where their suspension they just seem to have no clue how to set up a suspension. But actually, I was surprised at how well it worked.
Yeah, this thing is barrels of fun on big fast sweepers, where carrying your momentum is really key. On bumpy tight twisty roads, maybe not so much fun, but still.
Well, I would
good
say
fun.
I would say with springs and oil, I think like any motorcycle, you'd see a lot of gains.
Yeah.
I think maybe tires that are not Shinko would
not to say that Shinkos are bad tires,
not
but
to say they're bad tires. I'm
better
sure
ones
there are better
available.
tires. I think with do some suspension work, new tires, new brake pads, because the current brake pads they're basically just like blocks of wood.
They sound and they make a very entertaining sound when you apply them.
They make all kinds of sounds,
Yeah.
and I make a sound, like a kind of a whining sound. But TCIC brake calipers, I don't know what kind of choice you're going to have for brake pads. I'm not sure. TCIC is actually the Taichung Industrial Corporation.
Is that they're Thailand? Thailand?
Korean.
Okay.
Korean. So Koreans are very patriotic people, understandably, and they like to source as many of their components as they can inside Korea, and they've really clung to that with Hyosung. Now, I think there are some Japanese components now with the fuel injection, and I think the rear suspension is maybe Showa. So the Hyosung rep was telling me. So they're starting to get more in tune with what sport bike
Sort of
buyers,
taking a little bit of pride in the performance of it as well.
Yeah, and I was very surprised at this. Just the sportiness. This is one of the sportier 250 sport bikes I've ever ridden. Because even the 300 Ninja is not set up like a sport bike. Really, it definitely has more ergonomics designed to appeal more to the all-around rider. The pegs are further forward, lower down. The handlebars are not clip-on design like the Hyosung. I mean, the Hyosung I could see racing this bike because getting a little off topic, but that motor feels really corked up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody will come out with a plug and play.
I mean, you see how this?
Tuner
I think this is the first time I've ever seen half-inch exhaust headers.
Oh, come on. It's not half-inch, it's 5/8.
It looks like a CRF50 headers. And 5/8, they double as handlebars. And but I think with a exhaust system and some dyno tuning and maybe airflow, like I think you could get, because they're dynoing this at 25 horsepower, the magazines.
Okay.
We haven't taken it to the dyno, but they're dynoing at 25 at the back wheel. I think 30 plus is achievable, and I think in the 250 production, the 250 production based classes, that's actually enough to turn in some decent lap time. So I think somebody want to get into racing or track days would have a good time with this bike.
Yeah, and my impression of the chassis and steering geometry, it's very stable. I would say even verging on conservative. It's I think it would make a fine track bike. It would probably be a bit high effort to ride fast, but
well, that's how you learn.
Well, yeah. But it's not. It's no TZ or RS. It's not going to flick side to side.
No. Just
by thinking about it.
This bike does not flick. If you're used to, I mean, like I said, it's 1994 all over again, and this really feels like a 90s sport bike, and that's not bad because it's predictable. And you work on your technique, and you develop a very basic riding style, and you kind of you learn how to ride a sport bike, and if you're buying this bike, that's why you bought it.
Right. Yeah. This bike will not do anything that surprises you. I think that's a good goal for this bike.
Okay. So I don't know. Let's wrap it up. You wanna do a little wrap up for us, Al?
I think I said everything I thought of.
Okay, well, I would say, to sum up this bike, I would say you've got a good bike that's a decent commuter, and a fun 2-lane blacktop road, even some exploratory track days, and for just over $4,000. And I think this bike represents a decent value. I was very surprised at how much I liked it, and I appreciate you watching our video.